Jean Paglio. I'm back again with the final portion of our tulip-like design. I just wanted to give you one tip before we get started. I use my blending stump a lot. And what happens with it is it bends and it starts to get really dirty and dull. So what I take is an emery board, and I just sand it lightly so that I can sharpen the point and clean it up just a little bit. Now this is rolled paper, and it's very tightly rolled, so you want to be careful how much you take off. But as you can see on the paper here, there's a lot of crumbs. So what I do is I smooth it out a little bit before I get started, okay? So that was your tip for today. I know I've worked you hard during this situation. So I wanted to tell you a few things before we really get going. You'll notice that I have shaded all of my stones, and I have come in and started to shade all of my flowers. But I've also done a little bit of extra to my flowers. What I did was I came in with my pen first and just flicked in a few little lines to give it a little dimension. And then I gave it a circle in the middle because it's called Tangled Tulips. But it could pass as a tangled rose at the same time. Then what I did was I came in with my pencil and I scribbled in some little pencil marks, only where the lines are where it's going to have a shadow. And the shadow will then be smudged in place. So you can see that. And then I'm just going to smudge this upwards a little bit because I want that to be curved. And it will be, if you place a shadow there, it'll curve a little bit. This increases the depth of the interior, and this increases where the fold line is, where the petal rolls over the side of the flower. So those were the things I wanted to show you on that. Now when I came in here and I did that, I mean, you can always do it again and again. Just don't get too heavy-handed on the flower pot because you don't want to lose your pinks, so or your basic colors that you've used. Now I came in, and I can show you this closer. You can see the little sketch marks in the stalk that's going up, and also some little scratch marks in the leaves. You don't have to do that, but I wanted to add texture to the stems. So I just brought in a few little marks here and there. And if you have a stem like this, and it would be nice if I had a pen that worked, stem like this, you want to come in and just add a few little scratch marks. Okay, it's just flicking here and flicking there because that way it gives it a little texture, a little look of reality. I also started working on my background under the flowers, which is what I promised that we would do. And it is cross-hatched, which is, start out clean here. And again, don't flick your wrist. No wrist flicking. No wrist twisting. Just pull from your elbow and your shoulder across. And turn it around. And either you can go this way. Okay? Or you can go this way. Entirely up to you. Or you could go both ways, depending on how dark you want it to be. Then you turn it, come back, and go in the other direction. And it adds a nice little background for your flowers. It kind of makes them pop off the paper. So, I've got this started, and what I did was I cleaned up my lines a little bit. I had my messy opportunities here. So I made a couple extra leaves. And down here, I just kind of blended it in a little bit with, by doing cross hatching, it kind of covers it up a little bit. I added a few little scraggly shreds of vine growing off, because what I had done was I started making a leaf and then I decided not to. And so just to be uniform, I decided I would continue to put those little lines in. And you don't have to do that if you do not wish to. It's not a major thing. It was just an oops moment, and I decided I would come in and just make an opportunity out of it. Okay? So this is how we're going to do this entire section behind your flowers. And then we will come in with our pencil. And be careful around your flowers. Don't run over them if you can help it. And if you do, well, that's fine. You know, don't worry about it. It's not going to break the bank or change the future or create any major problems. Just relax and have fun. Do what you do. Okay, so now I have this cross-hatched in both directions, and I want to come in and I want to do a little bit more on an angle. So I'm going to come in that way, and I'm hoping it's going to come out as neat as the rest of it did. I think and I scumbled some little ink marks around here. I don't know if you remember, but in one of the videos, the previous portions, what I did was I mentioned that you could scribble into the background, and that helps give it some depth as well. So you can do that. Then when you're ready to shade, come in with your pencil. Come along this section close to your stones. Really darken it, because you want those stones to pop forward. You want them to jump out at you and say, hey, I'm here. Take your blending stump and pull that shade forward. See the difference it makes? And your hands are going to get very dirty here with the pencil, because it's a very soft lead. And when you use soft lead, it smudges like crazy. So, and you can add a little shadow around your flower, whichever side you have decided upon. Again, I'm going to come in, I'm going to add some more pencil, and I'm just going to pull that out, tuck it in underneath in the cracks. I really want this to show. So once you've done that, you can continue on, or you can do the whole cross-hatching first if you so desire. I just wanted to show you the step that would follow afterwards. So I started it incorrectly. I had an oops moment and didn't realize that I was going up and down rather than back and forth across. But either way you look at it, it comes out the same. So it's not a concern. You'll finish this, and then we will do the outside of the stones, okay, right around here, and make them look like they're not floating in the air, but they're sitting, and where it's called grounding. We're grounding them. I hope you've taken the opportunity to do this project, because it's really been fun for me to do it with you. And I appreciate you tuning in to take the time out of your busy day and spend some time learning this project. Before I go today, before I sign off, I will show you the other two that I have. And they're not done, but they are penciled. So they're sketched on, and hopefully I can get to them soon. But if not, they'll be there for another day. The nice thing about this is that you can leave it if you run out of time. I know everyone has time constraints. You know, the children need to be fed, they need to go to school, the family needs some attention. Take some time for yourself. Give yourself the gift of time. That doesn't mean a whole day. I mean, if you have a whole day, God bless you. But if you can squirrel out some time and just schedule it for yourself during the day sometime, or even in the evening. You know, a lot of times I'll do things, some art things, while my husband watches his favorite shows that I don't care for, and I'm certainly not interested in watching. But I will sit on the sofa and keep him company, and then I will just work on my own things. So here again, I'm going to come in. I've got the whole thing swept in one direction. Now I need to sweep it in the other direction and make sure it's cross-hatched, and then I'm going to do some more on an angle, because I really like the look of that. If you do not like that look, or you do not want to do that, you can just leave it as is, because once you get your shadows in, it's going to make all the difference. So keep going. Just give yourself a gift of time. When you run out of that time, just put this aside. When you come back, you'll look at it with a fresh eyes, and it'll really look different to you. And don't be critical of yourself. Just keep going. When it's done, you will feel like you have really accomplished your own little masterpiece. I'm not fussy with my lines. I like them to be close, but if they're not, I can always come back and add more. And then, of course, once you do the cross-hatching on an angle, that really changes the whole look of it as well. Try to just flick your pen, just a light touch, nothing heavy. Because if you start making very, very dark marks like this, then there's a big difference between that and just flicking. Okay? So we're going to come in, keep going, get this part finished, turn it on an angle. And by using your a light touch and light pressure on your pen, I mentioned this in some other videos that I've done, you don't damage the tip, which is a filament tip, and it's very soft. So in comparison to roller ball or anything like that. And when you're using a 0.01, it really makes a big difference. So you get a lighter touch and a lighter bit of ink as you work through the project. The versatility of these pens is that when you want to really darken something, you can do that. And even then, with light pressure, you don't want to press hard because you don't want to ruin the pen. You can get a lot of life out of these pens if you're gentle and if you take good care of them. Don't leave them uncapped because then the filament will dry out. And it doesn't have to be every single speck cross-hatched in every direction possible. You can do some of it lighter than others, less than others. Sometimes less is more. And it doesn't have to be completely cross-hatch every which way. Now, I'm not going to come back and go in the other direction, because I want to show you how we're going to deepen the outside. Okay, I think I've got that. Before I do that, I'll cap my pen. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to finish shading all the way around on the inside. I'll give this a little bit of shadow here. Doesn't have to be a lot of pencil either. It can be just a little if you want. You can shade everything, or you can just continue to shade what you want to shade. Just keep it simple and you'll be happier in the long run. I'm just giving some shade to the pieces, and that way you can see what it's like. And then you can decide for yourself if you really want to do it that way or not. Again, there's no wrong way to do this as far as I'm concerned. Okay. And anytime you get a little bit of pencil mark that goes over onto your stones, just blend it in. Put a little bit down there. And if you want to remove some and you feel that it's just too dark there, just tap your, this is a mono Tombow plastic eraser, and what it does is it'll just pick up the color from the pencil, that's all. This would also make a very lovely colored pencil design drawing as well. You could always do your darker shadings with colored pencil if you wanted to, and then blend it out with the colored pencil blender. It's a pen. It looks just like a colored pencil, but it's a blender. And I like mine. I use it a lot when I do my colored pencils, because what it does is it smooths out the tooth of your pencil. The only issue is it's hard to lay another color on top. As long as you haven't blended it first, you can come in and add more color colored pencil to design. However, if you have gone ahead and blended with the colored pencil blender, then what you might have done is smoothed out everything, and it's really, really difficult, if not almost impossible, to add any more colored pencil to it. Now there are types of blending materials that you can use, like turpentine for watercolors, for oils and stuff like that, and it will allow you to blend out your colored pencil. But again, that is a whole nother course, a whole nother class, so let's just stick to what we're doing now rather than have me confuse you any more than I already have. Okay, so down here I just added some pencil, and again, I'm going to bring it out, and I might add more to make it really dark, because I really want those rocks to pop out. These are beautiful stones, and I want you to be able to see them. See how the difference that it makes? So again, you're just going to come in, you'll leave it a little bit darker at the edge of your stone, and then just pull that color out. At the end, you could spray this with a little bit of fixative or something like that, so that you have kept it from smudging. So this would make a really, really beautiful little picture, so you could hang it in a frame and give it as a gift or whatever. See, I'm really adding a lot of pencil here. So I want this to be nice and dark in the background under the stones, and then I'm just going to pull it out a little bit because I want it to pop. And to make it pop even more, I might go in and add some more on the inside. And that makes a big difference, a really big difference. So you see what I mean? Now, we can do this all the way around. It can be as dark as you want, depending on whether you work with a light hand or you like depth and color, deepness to it. You might have to go over it 2 or 3 times, especially if you're light-handed, because I tend to be more light-handed than dark-handed, and it makes it hard, because then I have to go in again and again and again, and it's hard on your hands and it's time consuming. So, but it's worth it in the long run. It's worth it in the long run. So as you go along, you're just going to finish up. Sharpen your pencil every now and then so you're getting some good color on there, some good lead. You want that graphite to be really heavy. And every now and then I put the pencil down because it's less hard on my hands to, it gives your hand a chance to relax a little bit, to just smudge rather than to keep adding a lot of pressure to the pencil. Okay, I'm going to sharpen my pencil. I have my little sharpener here. And yes, I have a children's pencil sharpener. And I like it because you get that nice little crispy point. So there we go. We're on 2 more sides and then we're done. And I will let you in on a little secret when I get around to the final edge. I didn't mention in the instructions of what you were going to need for this project, but it's one of those things that you can either use or not use, and I'm sure that you might have something around in the house that you could use, like a white colored pencil or a white pen or white ink. Being an artist, I have a lot of everything. So an artist and a teacher, yeah. So I usually have more stuff than I'll ever use. If you ever saw my downstairs studio, well, I don't know, think to yourself, oh my gosh, how much money did she spend on that stuff? But it was over time, so not to worry. I need supplies for my students when we work because the classes I give, they don't have to pay for their supplies. So when I meet up with them, but in this COVID, I haven't done any of that, and it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to go back to it either, but whatever. If I can, I can, and if I can't, well, so be it. That's why I wanted to offer some online things and reach out to people, because I know everyone is feeling the pressure of staying in and not being able to go to big conventions. And a friend of mine and I always go to a painting convention in Massachusetts, and we always go up to the same place for a greeting card and scrapbooking convention. Now, I don't scrapbook, but I'll tell you what a great place it is to go. Because it offers people who do cards and journals and stuff like I do, a chance to really see what's on the market, what's coming out, what's new. Gives you a chance to talk to the vendors, and they really like to talk to you. They really do. So if you ever have a chance to participate someday in the future, do so, because if there's nothing worse for a vendor than to stand there all day long and not have anyone talk to them. I wouldn't interrupt a vendor if he was already talking to someone else. However, if I had a question, I wouldn't hesitate to ask when I found that he was free or she was free, and I just would. They love to hear from you. They love to hear what you might need, just like I like to hear feedback. They need that feedback because that's their business. They have to please the public, and that's what they're interested in doing. So if they return home from a conference or some kind of a convention, they can say, well, you know what, I got this feedback from people and they wanted this, this, and this, and I think that we might be able to try that. So, it's helpful to them. Okay, we have reached the end of our little project here. And it isn't that little because it's been a long project, and I did it so that you wouldn't have to feel like you had to watch 2 hours of it. But this is my little surprise. I used a Signo Uniball pen, and that's what it says right here. And I came into my flowers and I just gave them a little highlight here and there, okay? And it does fade because the ink sinks into the pink. So you just get enough. And every now and then clean off your Uniball, because it can get clogged a little bit. You've got a lot going on these flowers, so you really need to keep the pen ball clean. Okay, and you don't have to put a lot, just a little here and there. I didn't do much on this one. Just give it a little extra love. And then put it away. Put your name on it before you put it away. And if you even wanted to put the date on, you could put the date on the back. Okay? And that is all there is. So thank you so much for joining me for these wonderful little projects, and please give me a like. And if you go to my YouTube channel, you can like it, you can comment and tell me what you think you would like to see next or in the future, or what you would be interested in doing. And also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. Bye now.